Once again, my lies have been proven true, and you're listening to Slurmcast, a podcast for no reason. Today we'll be discussing Season 9, Episode 5, Zap Dingbat. My name is Michelle Burlingame. With me are Tommy Roulette.
How's it going?
Pete Woodward.
That's me.
And our guests, Erin and Ron Caruso.
Hi.
Hi.
Welcome back to the show, half of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
We've had you.
No welcome to the other half.
Yeah.
Get bent, Ron.
I didn't even bat an eye at that.
You've been on the list of people to get on the show since Erin was on last time.
Oh,
I think she talked
that
about.
was season 2.
Yeah, it's just.
I don't remember much from episodes that we taped before, but I remember her talking about Ron coming on. So
Yeah, I mean that's like the fourth thing that Tom remembers in 3 years of doing this. It just all goes right through.
I remember we did the episode with the dog.
What?
That too.
Wait, what?
The sad episode. That's all
I didn't think it
remember.
was sad. I thought it was self-defeating, and we covered that already.
Anyways.
Anyway, how are you guys doing?
Good. Yeah.
Well,
Well,
Good.
well,
Well,
good.
good.
Well,
you know,
that
it's been
requires explanation.
I'm doing well. Batman does good.
it's been a busy week for me. Erin, of course, is a wonderful, talented local artist, and I help sell her art at comic book conventions. And last weekend did a big show in Chicago.
Oh.
And this weekend heading down to Columbus. Next weekend, Madison.
Oh, I was going to ask if there are only cities that started with C, but you changed it up.
No idea.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah,
and
it's
just,
good. It's
I
good.
mean,
It's a lot of work.
it is, but you know, it's really nice art, and it's all positive and fun too. Which
It is.
not like the shit I have hanging up around here, the death and the goats and the Baphomet. And anyway, it's also, I guess, super belated congratulations because you guys have a recent offspring. And the only reason I wanted to bring it up is because the last time you were on, you're like, if we have a baby, it'll be a pizza bagel. And now you have an actual
I do
live
have
pizza
a
bagel.
bagel.
It's beautiful.
That needs a little explanation.
Yeah, for the new listeners and me. What does that mean?
So, what do you call a half Jewish, half Italian baby?
Okay, got it.
Pizza bagel.
I got it.
It really, I don't know, it resonated with me. I think just because pizza bagels are delicious and so are babies.
Yeah.
This was a kind of a weird episode. I felt like they crammed a lot of stuff into it.
I feel like they crammed a lot in without cramming anything.
There is no B plot.
No.
There is not a B plot in this episode.
Technically, the surfing.
Yeah.
No, I would still call that the A plot.
Yeah.
That's just the other part of the A plot.
Just, but starting off with the dead goldfish and Scruffy being so despondent
Sad.
about it.
He's
I know.
normally so stoic.
Exactly. I mean, now there's nobody around to witness, so I guess that's
We
a
know
good thing.
Scruffy is sensitive.
Of course he is. He's also dead, apparently, so he has emotions even though he's like a reanimated corpse. But the thing where it just like plopped into Zoidberg's mouth.
yeah.
in the sewer was
Either
beautiful.
way, even if he was at Planet Express, he probably would have eaten it anyways.
And you just save the water. Would have been fine. Did they say? Maybe I just didn't write it down. But like, what anniversary was it for?
40th.
40th.
Their 40th.
Wow.
Yeah, I just had my 1 month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good on you.
I'm in. Well, I'm not even gonna go into it at this point. Like everybody knows.
Shut up. I'm happy, Pete.
You know what, Tom? I actually am too, but the more I talk about it, the more it fucking winds up slapping me in the face. So I'm just gonna stay on that. That's a really long time to be around. Like I've known myself for a little more than 40 years, and that's been trying for a lot of.
I mean, I don't even know if I'm going to be alive for another 40 years.
Right? I don't think any of us will.
I mean,
honestly, like,
No guarantees.
period, the world.
In 40 years, I'll be 70. I hope to fuck I'm still alive.
I'm just saying on the outside, you've got old grandparents and stuff. The genes are good. It's like the way things are going. You never know. Like,
True.
I'm looking at what I owe on the credit cards and what I have in the retirement account and going, maybe I can just make this a wash and disappear. We'll see.
I found out it is not illegal to fake your own death. It's illegal to make other people pay for it, though.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Okay, well, wait. So, but if you were going to fake your own death, then you'd have to fake your identity elsewhere And then isn't that illegal?
That is fraud.
Correct. But like faking your own death, like you would basically have to fake your own death, walk away, and live off the grid somewhere.
So like die.
Like
If you fake your own death and then die, you'll be.
Well, no, if you fake your own death the wrong way and actually die, that actually is a crime, I believe. Suicide is a crime.
That's right. God, who came up with this shit? This is.
How do you know
The
this?
Pilgrims?
I had to drive to Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania last weekend.
Very familiar.
And
Had to.
it's like almost 5.5 hour drive, so I had to find podcast to listen to, and it was one of the criminal episodes that they were talking about.
I'll need to research that further.
Which-
Was it called, like, is it part of something else? Or just like faking your own death? Or is it something
It was just one of the episodes. They're all like half an hour episodes.
Okay.
What's her
They're
name?
all real quick. Phoebe Judge.
I'm Phoebe Judge, and
Criminal.
This is criminal.
Criminal.
She's.
That's how
I
she
used to
says
listen to
things.
that, but I haven't in a long
Yeah, I
time.
had to get over it. And then I went to This Podcast Will Kill You, and that's amazing.
I was not a fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm terrified of diseases.
Well, I mean, they're just around. Like, you can't do anything about most of them.
Yeah, I know, but
That's a pretty good segue into the sewer in the episode.
Yeah.
It is. It was filthy. The body.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
The body horror revulsion I feel whenever they're in the sewer is always
A lot of
so
scatological references right off the gate
well,
in this
and,
one, too.
and I forgot about the Brown University dig.
Yeah.
Breakfast under Tiffany's.
Yes, I love that. I have that written down in my notes. So that Munda had a breakfast under Tiffany's poster in her dorm room at Brown.
Just the with a lot of the mutants and stuff, like the extra blisters and warts and things. That like last week there was this what was it, the fungus, the ego thing, the
Yes.
dog, and like
Fungus.
it just the way that was portrayed just made my stomach turn.
I disagree. I find the mutants charming. They're fun.
Like
Nobody's too grotesque.
The
Mouth
one that
mutant.
looks like Todd Berry.
Yeah, but
I still gotta wonder if that's on purpose. It just
it might be.
he's probably one of the
I
writers.
never looked
or
into it.
something. But they, right away this turns into like Morris and Munda like fighting. It just seems like such a hack thing though. Like that was
Yeah.
it's the part that bothered me. Although I guess like it almost had like a Married with Children vibe to it without being as funny.
Yeah, like because they do the joke where they get divorced. They say, "What are we gonna this isn't the end of the world. We're not gonna get divorced here." And then it's the hard cut,
Like,
to, and now you're divorced.
I
By
wish
the
it was
way,
that
Well,
easy.
so the
they're at
reason the reason
mutant
that they
municipal court.
the reason they got divorced was because at the 40th anniversary party, Munda and Morris realized that Munda wanted to go to college and be an exolinguistic
Yes.
expert, and Morris was a sewer surfer,
he wanted
and
to
he did not take her seriously, and
surf
she
the
got
sewers
mad.
of the world.
Yeah,
That's
so she got angry that he did not appreciate her mind, and she divorced him on her 40th wedding anniversary.
really quickly. Like that's
Yeah.
the part where I was
Boom.
just kind of just like, wow, is that a thing?
That was like the only the first big laugh that I had on that episode, and it was kind of not the best episode,
No.
but that hard cut was like the one that I was like,
Divorced.
It's snappy, but it feels underwhelming. There's no real emotional weight behind the direction of the episode.
Yeah, because who cares? You know that's going to kind of
Yeah.
revert back somehow or another. But then there's all like the weird, like so she's going to follow her passion and go off and get back. I having been through this sort of thing twice. Now it's an old hat for me.
I do-
I just like when you come out of it. It's like you revert back to where you were when you started. It's this really weird thing that you're just like, oh wait, I'm gonna call the people that I hung out with like however many years ago because I don't know what to do with myself, and then it turns into a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ever since I got married, I don't want to talk about divorce at all.
You're in the wrong house. Stop.
wrong episode.
Yeah.
I do like Munda's line about living with Leela only until something on her floor opens up.
Yeah.
And she suggests that the rents in Peru are looking pretty good.
I mean, that's I don't know what your relationships are like with your parents, but like living under this same roof is just not even a feasible thing for me. Like
It's tough.
and like I get along better with my mother now than I ever had. She lives like 10 minutes away. It's great, but as it gets increasingly closer, it's just like this is too much. It's too much.
I briefly lived with my mother when I lived in South Carolina, and I was the producer of a morning news show while
Really?
my dad was working in Nigeria.
There's a lot of moving pieces there. What part of
That's
South
my
Carolina?
life. The capital, Columbia.
I work for. Well, we'll talk about that off.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm familiar. There's a place there called the Art Bar that I really
Oh,
like.
yeah, I kind of remember that. I didn't get out much while I was there.
Well, you were producing a morning show.
So
You
I
had to
worked
get
very
like
late nights.
a drunk Tracy Morgan to come in and plug us. Which I hope you have stories like that.
Oh, boy. Yeah, there's some stories.
Never go to a second location.
Following a hippie, or a first one if you can help it. The stuff that was going on, like with the where's the get your head knocked off by a meteorite? What was that from?
That was him saying why he didn't want to leave the sewers and he was afraid of the space.
Oh,
The dad.
Okay, yeah, because I'm like, my note taking skills are severely out of whack with this stuff. But like, yeah, I could see that. You know, if
It's a
you've
very
lived
dad thing
underground.
to say.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's all kinds. We were just like Tom's terrified of diseases. Not that he's going to get any, but just if you know about them, then you might.
I feel like it's a healthy fear, though.
I mean,
I'm not like it's not a
It's a fear
like-
of being unhealthy.
like a debilitating fear. Like I'm not paralyzed by it.
You
It's
could be
just a
paralyzed
healthy.
by
I have
it.
a
Like,
healthy
what if you
fear
got
of
polio?
disease. I wash my hands and I don't go by sick people.
The only real way out of that is just like immersion therapy, you know.
Go into the
It's
sewers.
the only way.
God damn it! I just remembered this. It's like you uncovered a buried memory. When I was younger, if you went into like some of the parks by my house, there were lots of like sewer tunnels and offlets, and we'd just go trudging on through
yeah. It's a
them
very-
in our tennis shoes, not boots. They're probably full of tampons and hypodermic needles for all I know. But it's just like, oh look, we're at the lake. This is where it all outflows when you get there.
It's a very 90s latchkey kid thing to do. I get it completely.
The weird thing is, like, I had this instant, like, visceral, like, oh, I wish my park had sewer tunnels. We only had a creek.
But like that's just I think about how disgusting like it was just pure ignorance of going like, oh, this is just mud. it's clearly just mud. And then like seeing what washes out onto the beach at that same thing a few years later, it's like, oh God, we've made a terrible mistake. It's a bad. But hey, here I am, still alive. So maybe it boosted my immune system.
You know, I like to think it does, but maybe that's just me hoping that.
Yeah, you let our child lick the floor, too.
It's smart. It's smart.
Good
And,
for
like,
immunities.
Okay, so for compare, I lived in India for a little while, so certain things just don't scare me anymore.
you're like, I'll go swimming in the Ganges, whatever. I'm gonna slumdog it. Oh, that makes me think too, Tom. If you're scared of disease, I hope you guys aren't planning on having a baby because they're just little germ balls.
Oh, it's the baby. No, I have a whole plan. Don't worry about it. I'll tell you. I'll talk about it off mic.
Is that a plan B or?
It's a plan B for bubble baby. Just wrap them in like a bubble wrap and inflate it like a sumo suit. As long as you got a good air filter.
No, the
it's
sumo
fine.
suit goes on first, and then you bubble wrap it.
Oh, okay. But it's just got to be airtight.
How do you conceive a child in a sumo suit?
It can be done. Huh? I've seen movies on the internet. I mean, if everything follows to what they'd like you to believe, it'll probably wind up in a baby, I think, if I understood the biology classes correctly. Had they... The Most Def Cantina, has that come up before? That was like...
I don't think
No.
it has.
Such like a, and it was such a like knockoff of the Star Wars thing. Like I just wasn't sure why this seemed like the place to put it.
It's weird. Like those first two like opening scenes of that are like they ape the kind of the beginning in New Hope when they go in there. Like the guy, the weird alien popping
And the
up,
music
the Star Wars Holiday Special hologram guy. Have you watched that recently?
I watched it probably when it broadcast and never again.
I watch it every Christmas.
You look perplexed, Tom.
No, I'm listening. I'm listening to everyone.
Oh, that's
I'm just straightening.
We have an
sitting
extra
up
guest.
straight.
The scene
Leaning back
There
so
are
I can see
more
everyone.
people we have to allow to speak.
and the last time we did that, it was with the 2 kids, and it went. I think the term is sideways.
Do they listen? Do they listen to this pod? Are they
I
old
don't know.
enough? They were on the podcast, but I don't know if they should be listening to the podcast.
They definitely shouldn't.
Anyway,
And
I hope they're not listening. It was bad. It did not go well with the children.
oh, it's fine. God bless them. Munda gets super duper struck by Zap after the Borax kid like fleeces everybody in poker. I didn't realize he was just made of detergent. Like,
That's
It
what
took
borax
me
is.
The third watch to get that joke.
is it? But is borax?
It's an element. Or a mineral, rather.
Is it like? I guess the chemical composition. I know there is a detergent called borax.
Yeah.
And then there's like boric acid, which is made out of borax, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also super poisonous for like the best ant killer ever is that taro, which is like corn syrup and borax. You just
Right.
spread it out and they swarm and die.
I think it's a thing that they actually mine. There was an American Dad episode in the most recent season where they go to an abandoned borax mine in Australia.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
and
great.
they find out, yeah, okay, you know it. Good,
I
okay.
watched it recently.
I mean, it's like one of those things like mercurochrome that just used to be a thing, or ipecac.
I think Ipecac is still a thing.
I mean, I think they're all still things. You just don't you don't have the old glass bottle in the pharmacy in your medicine cabinet with like a crusty top on it, like mucilage. When was the last time anyone bought mucilage?
It's
I
old
don't
timey
even know what that is.
It's old timey
Yeah.
glue.
Yeah, it's like it looks like honey
What is it for?
for gluing
Glue.
stuff.
Oh, I thought it was a medicine.
No, I mean you probably.
I think it's like organic in nature. I think you could theoretically eat it and live. but-
It's basically mucus.
Yeah,
it's.
it's
I
gross.
mean, I think that's what it comes from. It's just like snot, and it turns dark, and then you put it on your stamps, seal them on.
I knew this girl once who was bragging to me about how she made her own laundry detergent, and I said, "Okay, what do you put in it? Like essential oils, what?" And she was like, "Well, I use a lot of borax." And I was like, "Oh, so you make your own laundry detergent with laundry detergent? That's cheating." And then she was like, "No, it's not." I'm like, "Yeah, trust me, borax detergent. It's like saying I make my own soap. What do you put in it? Dial." Like,
I make the best hamburgers. First,
So
I
it's
go to
probably-
McDonald's and get
it was-
some Big
yeah.
Macs.
It was probably borax and like essential oils.
That's
or
what it was,
something like
yeah.
that. Yeah. So it was laundry
And, like,
detergent with your own scent.
some kind. It was like, yeah.
It's a custom blend.
I mean, I know people like there's recipes out there, and I think part of it is like you make like a 5-gallon bucket for $3 or something. Like I understand the thriftiness of that or whatever, but like
Until you get dermatitis.
right or just I mean like yes, I understand where something like Costco could come into play with like bulk purchases, but like I just can't be responsible for having 60 rolls of toilet paper on hand at any given time. Or anything in that much
Space
stuff.
for that many rolls of toilet paper.
Exactly.
When I lived by myself in my apartment, I bought one 12-roll pack of toilet paper when I moved in, and I was finishing my last roll when I moved out a year later.
That's pretty awesome, though.
Were these like the Scott mega rolls and stuff? Just like a normal.
Yeah, like the Charmin or the Cottonelle Ultra Ripple, whatever. Good stuff.
They were definitely toilet paper and not paper towels, right?
Yeah, toilet paper. Yeah.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
Select the
I
size.
lived alone. I work every day, so like.
You do your
You
pooping
know.
on the clock like a smart person.
Well, there's also, I guess technically I also did have wet wipes, so I was really only,
That's still
you
impressive.
know, one pack. Now I go through that many with one roommate in like a month, and I don't understand.
My TP consumption has gone down drastically since the living situation changed here. I don't know what was going on with it before, but like, now part of it too is that I'm gone a lot, so it's like obviously not getting used while I'm not here. But when I am here, it used to be like I would go through 12 rolls in a week, and now it's like I can go another month without having to worry about this. Just keep checking.
Back to the sewers.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Speaking of the sewers,
Well, no, we were still in the
toilets.
cantina, I thought.
oh, are we?
Right, because Zap was trying to negotiate peace with was it the Carcarons?
Yeah, Carcarons.
The Treaty of Table 7. He's so wonderfully stupid. I mean, as depressing as everything is now, I still wish we could get Billy West just like reading quotes from the president in the Zap voice, because really,
There's a
that's
really
all
good
it is.
one at the end of the episode that was my opener.
Yeah,
that I was
it
like,
a
is
good
that
one.
Donald Trump?
Did you see the letter he wrote to the
oh, we're not getting into the no.
I'm just
no,
saying,
no.
Yes.
it's terrifying.
You haven't. I was going to show you, but then
No,
we had to run
I'm
over
so out of
here.
the loop news-wise lately, just from these conventions and
You
traveling.
lucky man. Let's just know, if you don't do it, I'm going to look at you as the devil for the rest of my life.
I know stuff is bad, but I just know that it's nebulously bad. But that's kind of how it's been for a while. So
So I think I've seen these things. I'm sorry to jump around. I'm
No,
very
go for it.
flighty today. So the translator box that they had. First, Zap was trying to talk into the napkin dispenser, which is a really cool like Art Deco piece. Somebody should make those, like the little pointy one.
A napkin dispenser?
Yeah.
All right, I'll get on it.
Maybe we can get branded merch, just the Most Def Cantina napkin dispensers. But so the last time I was flying through New York, when I went to rent the car, one of the things that they will rent to you now is like they'll rent you an iPad that has like translations and shit on it. Like it's basically like
When you go where?
okay.
like this was at a car rental place. So you could rent the car, but then you could also rent like a preloaded tablet with a bunch of travel apps and stuff on it to like translate. Like,
Oh.
are we at basically the Babelfish point now where you can just talk and have it translated back in real time through
Yeah,
something?
there's apps.
I
Those-
tried
those apps
it
you can take.
Yeah.
in Germany. So for my day job, I'm a creative director of a product design company. So all of our stuff is made overseas.
Yeah.
So I went to Germany to a show, and we were talking to factories that were from China.
Uh-oh.
And we tried. We were talking into the app, and they were not loving it. It did not work very well.
I mean, do you think they
Kinda
were
like
just being
Zaps?
standoffish? Like,
I think it was mostly like it went back to confusion and miming, and I think it just made everything a little worse.
yeah.
But I mean, their English normally is impeccable.
It's better than my Mandarin. Like, I can't get the tones.
Shishi.
I just, like, the tonal languages just completely flummox me. And I don't know. I feel like I have to talk in a voice. I tried to learn Cantonese for a while, and, like, I just feel like I'm doing a racially insensitive voice when I'm trying to speak it, because just trying to hit, like, the way you need to hit the words, it was just like, I feel like I'm doing something, like, ching-chongy that is not kosher, and that stunted
'cause
my growth.
It's technically you have to talk with an accent to pronounce the words.
Yes.
And so you're talking with a Cantonese accent trying to learn
to.
those words.
Yeah.
Trying to. So it's the same thing as you talking in a British accent. They just happen to be the same words that you already know.
Right, except for
you're-
those special ones they can say that we can't.
Right. But I'm just saying, I get it, because it's a whole different language
Because
where
society has taught you that imitating the accent of someone whose language you don't know is insensitive.
yeah, which is
But
really
in,
not.
in that instance, it is not. You're learning how to speak the language.
Yeah.
And then to properly speak that language, you have to use that accent, because that's how you pronounce those words. It's the same thing with Spanish. Like,
you just say it louder and add an O on the
Yeah.
end of everything, and it's fine.
there's nothing worse than the like Americanized Spanish speaking
Like
thing.
Taco Bell?
Like, no, just
Get
I'm
some
not going to do it.
jalapenos
But
on your tortilla.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At the Chipotle.
I always will remember this for the rest of my life. But when I was in, God, it had to be like first grade.
Oh, God.
My teacher kept saying tortilla chips. And I
Oh,
said,
dear.
that's tortilla. And she was like, no, see, read it. Tortillia. Tortilla. Like she was, like, like she was saying it. No, it says tortilla. I'm like, no, it says tortilla.
They're not made out of turtles. What's wrong with you?
Tortilla. Like
Did you have a whole world-shattering moment of like, oh, adults don't really know?
She got mad at
everything?
me, and then I told my mom, and then my mom told her she was wrong.
Was your mom a teacher at the same school?
No, but
Oh, that's great.
she probably still knows that teacher. Well, nah, maybe she's old and retired by now.
Or dead. We can hope.
Probably not. She's not that old.
Well, anybody can die at any time, so fingers crossed.
Well, if you tell somebody that you want to spank their sister with a slab of bologna, then it's a good way to start the process. Which I've never spanked anybody with meat. It always seems like a waste of meat to me.
I
mean,
don't think I've
it seems like
spanked
something
anybody
you would
with
have done
any
at one
type of
point or
food.
another. Maybe when you're bartending. I don't know.
Like that's not bologna's not very big. That wouldn't hurt. Would it be a really big slab of bologna?
I mean, it
It's more the
depends.
degradation aspect, I
Yeah.
guess, not less so the.
Like, have you ever gotten like a good thick fried bologna sandwich though? Because some of that stuff has some weight. Or if you wanted to really fuck people up, you could take like the bologna log and then slice it long ways.
There you
so
go.
you had like a paddle, like a bologna paddle.
That's how you
could have fun
weaponize
with.
bologna.
bologna pedal.
Exactly. Now I kind of want to do this. And as long as you just kept parts that you could put on gloves, so the part that you were holding on to could still be edible. And I guess it depends on where you.
I just want a
hit it.
fried bologna sandwich right now.
With
Yeah.
mustard.
I like to get one. Brewery does a good one.
I just had one somewhere recent. I think maybe and it was.
It's good.
Oh, I don't need it anymore. I've gotten food poisoning from them too.
Oh,
Me
dear.
too.
Uh-oh.
Me
Many
too.
times.
Every time
no.
I've eaten at I've gotten sick.
Like,
Every single time.
I've got a real
Sorry,
good
local
stomach and immune
establishment.
system, but every time I've eaten there, I've gotten food
Oh,
sick.
no.
Like I said, I lived in
Me
India.
too.
I know food poisoning.
Also,
The first time I went to hostess tried to sell me acid and shrooms.
oh boy.
Like before you got sat.
Damn.
Yeah. We were standing there waiting for a table, and she was talking about how she was friends with the dudes from Twisted and ICP and was like trying to sell us drugs. Like,
Was she just
hallucinogenic drugs.
she was just trying to get to the gathering or something. Like, can't I hate the player, hate the game.
That sounds like something that would happen at a Waffle House.
yeah, it was at Beer Engine.
The beer engine.
Kids.
Great beer selection. I'll give them that.
You've got an amoebic dysentery though. Like
I
that's
did.
not like.
I've gotten a little sick, a little bit of everywhere.
Tom, we invited Ron on to immerse you in your fear of disease.
Yeah. I love too. So I
I
don't
know,
know.
now I got to
man.
think twice about it. Like, it'll be like the Battle of Paco's Tacos all over again.
I think it was burgers both times. Just don't get burgers.
I should probably bleep out that name each time we talk about that.
Maybe not a bad idea.
It's up to you.
yeah, but we have to warn the people.
Civic duty versus
Because
serving.
I've
let's
gotten
just-
sick there multiple
before-
times. My old roommate got sick there
Yeah,
multiple times, and now it's
Listen,
like everyone I
not
talk
just
to.
once, multiple times,
Yeah.
both of us.
This is
So
a
they're
retroactive
done.
blanket,
They done.
allegedly.
I mean, I've
We're
gotten
safe now.
food poisoning from so
Oh, no.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
we love them.
Cuts things without gloves on. Gross.
I've gone back. I mean, because because another one closed. So, but it happens. I got food poisoning in high school one time from my high school cafeteria.
The bread tangle
Food
of
safety
pizza.
is no joke.
No, it
people.
was
It's not.
They're
Cross contamination
cheeseburgers.
is a serious
Just
problem.
wash your hands.
Yeah, don't put cooked food next to raw food.
What?
Like there's so many simple things you can do.
I just have like Alton Brown on my shoulder saying cross contamination. That's
Yeah.
like, anyone says those words, he's there.
Botulism.
Oh. But it's okay to inject it into your face, just so you know.
So we were still in the cantina, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so
Aren't we done with
like,
that part?
almost. Munda gets struck with Zap, and then she ends up talking down the
Carcarons.
Carcarons. Her exolinguistic expertise comes into handy, right? But I like the fry drinking the barium shots.
He just doesn't want to talk about the business.
Yeah.
Ugh, I'll just
We can put it on the corporate card if we talk about business. I'll just pay for it.
The line of I don't know where most of her is, but her tongue is in Zap's mouth.
Yeah. That
Was beautiful.
Bender.
And
Leela asked where her mom was.
it auto-corrected to Zappa's mouth, which is
Oh,
almost
Frank Zappa.
good, right?
Rest in peace.
I also think Zap was, Leela, I didn't know you had a mother. And I was like, wait a second. They were dating for a little bit. And when did she find out about having a mom? That was
yeah,
probably
because she
was
was
before
an
she
orphan. Yeah, she
discovered,
grew up in the
yeah.
orphanarium.
I mean, not that he would have paid attention anyway.
No, but
Yeah.
I don't know. He does have a point. He probably didn't know.
I mean, like, I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's just the fact that he's famous is really what gets her. But, like, they leaned hard into the Shatnerific, like, Zap stuff this episode,
Picking
too.
up every alien, yeah.
And Leela's
Fair.
really, like, upset about it. Like, really, really, really upset with the whole, like, show me where he touched you on this dried apple doll.
Dried apple doll.
But why is she really, like, is it that she doesn't want her mom dating anybody? Is it that she doesn't want her mom dating Zap? Is that she has, she seems to have a very complex sort of set of feelings for Zap.
I think all those reasons are probably valid.
Yeah.
He's a bad guy, and the fact that she had a previous relationship with him, and that her mom would be dating anybody. I think all those weigh in.
I mean, there was the painting of their sexual
Commemorative
conquest, which was,
Yeah.
I think, like, this episode goes so heavy into, like, any sort of feeling that your parents have a relationship or that they have.
oh, I'm living that whole thing right now. It's, anyway, it seemed like, I think Leela should have known that Zap would fuck things up sooner rather than later. If she just kind of let it roll its course, it probably would have been, I don't know. She does a lot of work to get to the same place that it would have gotten to on its own. Not that we necessarily knew that, but that's kind of what occurred to me. But I guess then you don't have 7 minutes of the episode, right?
Right. Once again, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but man, like this episode feels like it just stops rather than ends. But
Yeah.
so 7 minutes maybe could have been used more wisely.
Like her going to work as Zap's personal translator, it seems to make sense. But again, I thought they had he wouldn't need a translator if he just used the machine instead of trying to.
But he's
Outsmart
Zap.
it.
Like,
Yeah, that's what I
if
think,
you can
like-
replace a pretty girl with a machine, that's Zap,
I guess that's true. I mean,
It's just so they can spend more time together.
yeah. Oh, look. I mean, that's a great thing about business travel. You can bring people along with you and be like, hey. I got half the airlines covered. I got the hotel covered, and I got per diems. Let's go.
That's a characteristic of people who fail upwards too, is they hire competent people under them.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Although I guess that's technically illegal now, but it sure does seem to happen a lot, doesn't it? I don't know. I work from home, so I don't know what goes on at the home office. I guess so. Then they. Morris is just despondent after being left, and he decides to go back to where he was when they got together and go surfing. But I don't know. I guess this is the sort of thing that happens. I used to work with a guy who had been married for a long time, 20 some years, and then him and his wife split up. And it was 3 years that they were split before they finalized everything. And when she finally, she was the one who's okay, putting an end to this, it was still a shocking surprise to him. He hadn't dealt with it at all in that time. And this was clearly a shorter period of time for Morris, but it was really weird. It's just then he snaps out of it immediately.
Yeah. Once again, no real emotional depth to the separation.
And without Munda there, the sewer's a dank and dismal place. And then that starts getting really gross. So, what's having cited living in India? What other filthy places have you been in? Not that India itself is filthy, but just there's filthy parts
with
there.
all respect, it is.
I've been to Philadelphia.
Yeah, Philly's a trashy place. Yeah. Boy, I don't know. I've lived a little bit of everywhere, so I don't know. If you ever live in the Pacific Northwest, that's a very clean, very green area.
Yes.
So once you've been there, everything seems a little dirty after that.
A little bit, yeah. Although some of the downtown areas maybe get a little grimy, but that's where the fun is. I mean, if you're not in those places, then you're really in the wrong place, unless you're going to go hiking or something. But like, really, who's going to do that?
I like the charm of the Rust Belt. I like the rusty oldness.
It's get it while the getting's good. It's all getting turned into luxury condos.
Yeah.
I just watched a trailer for a documentary about India where people just hire other people to go and tap into power lines and because they believe that they should just have electricity and they shouldn't have to pay for it.
The interesting thing about India is like when you think of like the world, you think of places having like good areas and bad areas. Like India, everything's just on top of each other.
Yeah.
You've got like this multi-million-dollar skyscraper that has these important businesses in it, just surrounded by slums. You know what I mean? There's no good and there's no bad. It's all just India.
It's all stirred up, and it's like a delicious curry of filth and disgusting wealth. Somewhere in there.
Had Indian food for
Once
dinner
again,
tonight.
not to talk down on India too much.
Should I
but
bleep this
it's
country?
It's a different.
just replace it with Philadelphia and everything.
Replace it with your voice saying Philadelphia.
I wanted to say something real quick about the sewer surfing.
Yeah.
This is based off of a somewhat real occurrence. Like, I think it's during the halftime of the Super Bowl.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody runs to the bathroom, so there is a marked increase in the amount of water and waste flowing through the sewers.
The pressure
at
drop.
Specific times.
Like, they time it with the commercials, and then it's like, and I mean, I think it's been blown up to be more catastrophized than it actually is, but like, I wonder sometimes in the morning, like my water pressure in the shower will just be off. And it's not like there's nothing else happening in my house. It's like, is literally everyone else on my block just like
Taking a shower?
flushing or taking a shower right now. And it's like, what's going on? Or, where's the throughput, man? You need the current.
Does anybody else know of another cartoon where sewer surfing was an important part of the episode? Because I can think of one.
No. Like a different show?
Different show. But where sewer surfing, where at the halftime show, was an important part of the cartoon.
The only, I mean,
Does Erin know it? Does Erin know it?
You're wrong.
No.
I'm not gonna
Guess.
Well, I mean, if you're going into gross out humor,
Here it comes.
then the only other show I know that would go there would be like Ren and Stimpy.
No.
Wrong.
It was close though. It was
Thundercats.
It was A Real Monster.
Oh, yeah.
Does anybody remember this?
Yeah.
Yes.
There was a sewer surfing episode where they surfed through the sewers because of the halftime.
That was a good show.
Someone just
Classy
told,
Chupo.
well, and that's what the Nimbus looks like, is the one monster with the armpits.
Crumb.
Someone was just telling me the other day that they had a friend who had a Halloween costume of that a few years ago. So it was like a bodysuit with like hair in weird places.
I saw it the other day when I was at Spirit Halloween.
Yeah?
I saw they had all the Ickis and Crumb, and they had all the All Real Monsters
90s
costumes.
are trending real hard.
Yeah.
So is Sexy Goldfish, apparently.
Yeah, and they have like 10 different types of sexy scarecrow costumes.
Really?
2 for dudes and like 8 for chicks.
What does a sexy scarecrow costume for a dude look like?
It's just a scarecrow. I mean, the female ones were like the sexy
Yeah,
ones,
it's like
but
It's a
like
scarecrow with abs.
But my question is why do they need so many different scarecrow costumes?
I mean,
Like is scarecrow like a new thing? Like I think it's clowns. Like you'd think that it would be like Pennywise this year or
So product design perspective, you really want they're up in their SKU count, but it was it different companies or were they all the same?
same company.
Same company.
Yeah.
Then I'm betting like they've been putting out one a year for like
Oh, they're all new. They're all
New?
brand new. There's
Damn.
Wow.
like sassy scarecrow, sweet scarecrow. It's like the Spice Girls but scarecrows. Like,
I just think
Yeah,
the
the
spirit
Packers
stores feel obligated to fill this empty retail
Probably.
space. They
Yeah.
keep expanding
Yeah,
every
that's what I
dang
was gonna
year.
say. Pack
Yeah.
the store. Yeah, it's a lot of.
I haven't been into one yet. What other like interesting stuff was at the Spirit?
Nothing. It was awful.
Oh, it
It's
was all
really bad.
terrible?
Yeah,
Did
it's really bad this
don't
year.
Did you
It's
go
all
looking for specific parts, or was there something? So you were just going.
and
to
the one
go.
that I went to. It's pretty small. It's the one by the AMC.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that one.
Yeah.
So it's tiny, so there's not usually that much, and it was literally all the same stuff from last year with like the exception of all of the scarecrow costumes and like maybe a
Weird.
couple new things.
Here are the
Oh,
all the scarecrow
all the
costumes,
scarecrows.
right? Okay, so there is sassy scarecrow, scary scarecrow,
yeah, sure.
scarecrow sweetie,
Is that the sexy one? Or is it the baby?
They're
one?
all
Yeah.
like skanky scarecrows.
creepy scarecrow,
And Sporty Spice.
sultry scarecrow,
See?
Sultry. Okay, all right.
just women's scarecrow costume,
I'm thinking about the grooming
scarecrow
habits of
poncho
scarecrows
costume.
now.
Poncho?
Yeah,
That's really random.
Yeah.
Like I have
scarecrow
to do,
maiden,
Wow, they keep
Maiden?
going. That's
saucy
crazy.
scarecrow.
I'm not kidding.
So there's saucy, sultry, and sweetie.
There's the alliteration is out of control.
It sounds like a really delicious like soup or something.
Yeah, or like a casserole.
Making a sauce and a
Let's invent the scarecrow
little
casserole.
savory scarecrow in there.
Really
Oh,
weird.
so,
It's not an icon. I used to design.
No.
That's what I'm saying. Like it's just
Halloween
not.
stuff.
Halloween for
sexy
years.
scarecrow.
Never sells.
This is not that's sexy scarecrow.
Oh,
Yeah, I
wow.
get it.
No.
So that is a pair of booty shorts with
Yeah.
suspenders and
That's
crop
that's
top.
sassy.
Yes.
Sassy's much more reserved than what was the other
Green.
one? Sultry?
Green
Yeah.
means sassy. Look all these up, people. They're hilarious.
On that, has anybody seen the sexy skeleton costume? It's just a skeleton with a big boner,
Yeah.
which doesn't make any sense at all because
Yeah.
skeletons don't have boners.
Or does it make all the sense because they're
But it's not. It's black. It's not a bone. Like that would even be
Oh, really?
funnier
That's
if
a
it was an
missed
actual like
opportunity,
bone.
yeah.
But it's a
What are they doing? Seriously, designers.
it's
You've
a,
got an
it's a
opportunity there.
skeleton costume with an erection.
I might get the midweek spooky girl costume.
I got something I want to do, but I got to go and look and see if I can find the right parts. It's pretty niche,
or
but
juice demon.
yes,
Yeah.
which isn't that a UFC fighter? I mean, it's not his real name, but it's like his. Are they stage names or what do you call them? Like I don't know.
Well, you can tell how good this episode
Yeah.
is
By how
based
much-
on how much we've talked
Well,
about it.
Here's the thing: it's not a terrible episode. Like the
No.
jokes are all they all land. They're all pretty snappy, but the story is just so I don't know, just undercooked. I think is what I'd say.
Surfing under the Carnival at Rio. was
Yeah.
one where that one made me kind of cringe a little bit.
Bender,
Fruit was all gross. It was
Yeah.
Carmen Miranda.
yes.
Yeah. Oh, Fry in the bikini too.
Yeah.
That was it.
And then the leprechauns underneath Dublin that get hit and turn into Lucky Charms. But ultimately, what it comes down to is like Leela's upset that her mom's happy, or that's what Munda's saying to her, and then what she said, I'm not too old to enjoy hot sex with Zap. Sex with Zap. Sex with Zap. Sex with Zap. Like that's super like I don't know. It's I mean like how many of you are able to have candid discussions about sexy times with your parents?
No.
I don't want
I don't
to.
think we should.
No,
have
no,
sexy
I-
times
But you know
with
what?
our
I did have to
parents.
go through that as an adult child of divorce.
Also me.
I did have to hear that. I had to hear about it. No.
More
not-
than you like more detail than you wanted, or was it just abstract enough and you're just like
No, it was not abstract at all.
oh that's that's not not
Not cool. Even if your children are adults, don't talk to them.
yeah they don't need to hear about dimensions.
Nope, I'm good. And my mom got remarried when I was an adult as well, in my mid-20s. And I mean, it's awesome. Like she's so much happier. It's all good. But yes,
But you don't wanna go there.
Ew.
Yeah.
It was funny
Also
when she was
ew.
dating because every man she dated was named John. So we talked about Erin's mom and her ever-growing list of Johns.
She married the third one. He goes by Jonathan.
Oh, okay.
Is there some way you could get like 16 in there too? Like just so it'd be like a John 3, 16, or like the guy in is he a Marilyn Manson bands or
Yeah,
Rob
John
Zombie?
5.
John 5.
John 5's
yeah,
playing at the
yeah.
Winchester
On Halloween, right?
I got my ticket. I'm ready.
Oh, nuts. Yeah, just it's a whole like it's something I want to completely insulate my daughter from. Not the I mean all of it, not just the like stuff that I don't want to talk about forever, but like it's that dynamic is so odd. Cuz you just don't want to think about it. Yeah. And the fact that Leela's mom is just like, sex, where's that? Does Katie Seagal do Munda's voice?
Tress McNeil.
Is it?
Stress. Yeah.
Okay. I was like, when I was thinking of the Married with Children stuff before, I was trying to remember if it was
Katie
Seagal.
Seagal only does Leela.
Yeah, she
At
doesn't
all,
have
like no other character.
She must have done like a random
No.
one person. Never. Not even
Never.
just somebody like shouting in the background.
Mm-mm.
Wow.
Yeah, she kind of
I don't think so.
she doesn't have many voices. Like when she's Lee Lemon, which she does dress up like Lee Lemon, she
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
goes
Really,
like
yeah.
this, and that's like the only voice other than Katie Seagal's voice that Katie Seagal can do.
Oh, and her singing voice.
Oh yeah, that's kind of the same voice though.
It's just different.
She
it's
is
the best. I
She's
love
now
when she sings.
yeah, she's now in
Oh,
the
Erin
Connors.
Erin likes her singing.
She's in
I do too.
Yeah.
she's in the car.
Okay, one
she's
other-
in the Connors.
Oh.
She is Dan Connor's new lady friend.
Oh. Well, that's
Yeah.
good. That's a step up
Yeah.
in all kinds of ways. Unless she makes him go watch her blues band.
Okay, so part of the storyline is that they were high school sweethearts, but she left town to go to Chicago with her band. So
They're just setting it up for a musical number. I know they are. That's
yeah,
I'm 100% okay with that, though.
Yeah.
I don't even know what show this is, but I'm on board.
it's the Roseanne
without Roseanne.
without Roseanne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I never grew up with Roseanne, so I don't feel like
I
have...
did. I've watched every episode so many times.
I'm just living
Anyway.
John Goodman on Royal Gemstones. Like that's or the
Yeah.
Righteous Gemstones.
That's the show I keep telling you about.
It's-
I gotta
We'll
check
get
that
around
one
to it.
out.
We'll
I've
get
been
around
meaning
to
to
it.
watch it.
I wanted. That's where my Halloween costume comes from. Hopefully, is one of those characters.
You got like
could
2
do
weeks
that,
to
yeah.
make it.
Yeah.
Oh,
TikTok.
I try and go for
At this point, if you're hoping it's not gonna happen,
no. It's really just a couple of parts accentuating some other things and maybe some bronzer. Who was it that got leprechauneria? Was that Fry?
It was Fry.
yeah, Fry got everything.
It's interesting. I think this episode might have the fewest Fry lines. He gets one line in Act 1.
Yeah.
One line in Act 2, which is when he gets injected with the stuff. He goes fiddly dee. That's his whole line in that act. And then in Act 3, he gets like a quick discussion with Leela. 3 lines. That's it. 6 lines the whole episode, and one of them is fiddly dee.
This is the second one in a row that was pretty light on Fry. He was deflated for most of the last episode.
Oh, that's right.
Which I didn't realize as I was watching it until I remembered that. I'm real dumb sometimes.
I think this episode was like the most Zoidberg actually doing real helpful medicine that I've seen.
just by
Yes.
giving shots.
He gave the right shots
Yeah,
to
he
a human.
diagnosed it. Yeah.
Yep.
E. coli and leprechauneria.
Yeah, he knew.
I feel free as a bum.
He knew the right vaccine for leprechauneria.
This line was so good, and it's like it's the 1984 reference, and I again can't remember who said it, but I don't want to put rats in your face cage or whatever the kids are saying these
Leela
days.
said that.
Yeah, Leela, I don't want to put a rat in your face cage.
Oh, it was.
Well, because Morris says when you're down there riding the waves, the wind ripening in your face, everything just makes sense, dude. You mind if I call you dude, princess?
I call my daughter dude all the time, and her wind is pretty ripe.
Aw.
It's amazing what goes on in there.
Well, like daughter, like
Parmesan cheese. That whole thing, the good Zap mispronouncing stuff deliberately. Like, and by deliberately, I don't mean like on purpose. I mean just like very slowly and with gravitas is some of the best stuff that ever happens on this show. Again, why it's nice to hear Billy West read off like tweets from the president.
Yes.
Pro.
What's the so this is when she hatches her plan, right? To try and seduce Zap. Like for somebody who's as repulsed by him as like she's really ready to play chicken, like right up to the line. That's where I kind of feel like she
was a little calculated. She says, "You've got 30 seconds to have your way with me," and then he says,
That's plenty of time.
That would
right?
be more than enough time.
It's nice to see such a surprising amount of you too, Leela. The disappearing pole or the laser pole or whatever.
Does your mother
stripper
know you're
laser
using her pole?
That cold, lifeless touch of her tentacle on my body. I don't know. It all seemed forced. Like it's shoving up on the end and like.
"Here's my take, if you don't mind me."
No, go for it.
Okay, so this scene, I think, is sort of like the turning point of why the episode feels underbaked, because we've got the whole aspect of the mom starts dating Zap, Monday
Right.
starts dating Zap, and as far as the episode goes, that love seems genuine because Leela's convinced he's pulling a scheme. But at the end of the episode, we find out he's not really. He has a genuine love for her.
Well, he's got that cold,
married to
lifeless
her.
tentacle.
And he's completely uninterested in having sex with Leela,
Yeah.
which seems like that's way against his character. Like I said, the romance is genuine there, which seems so weird when we get to the end of the I'm not want to jump too far ahead, but we get to the end of the episode, the wedding gets called off.
Yeah.
He really doesn't seem too devastated, or he doesn't really even react in any way.
I mean, I think it's like something shiny happens to distract him. Like, and what's better than war to get him?
But if that
worked
would have
up?
distracted him, then why wouldn't Leela have also distracted him? It seems like a real miscalculation of his character. I think the first time I saw this, I was convinced that there actually was going to be like an interesting, like weird scheme he was
twist.
pulling, and there just wasn't.
Well, he was trying to pull a scheme, but it was something
But
stupid
it was
and
different.
unrelated.
It wasn't
Yeah.
related to the
But he still thinks it's okay to propose to Munda in front of her half-naked daughter. That didn't happen, did it, Michelle?
No.
Okay, good. That would be.
No.
That's like really.
Neither of my parents is remarried, and my dad and his girlfriend are engaged, but he hasn't told me, and it's been a year. So,
That's a whole other thing.
but I know.
Yeah, and now the internet does too. It just what's like, where did it go from there? They took off to their hotel room or something.
Well, no. She says this calls for a hotel room, and then he says, "Here, Lita, here's $40," implying that she would be the one to leave and get the hotel. Yeah.
Oh, I took that to mean that he was giving her $40 to use her room as a hotel.
No.
No, I thought he was giving her $40 because she was pole dancing. That's what I thought.
It's like a choose your own adventure.
Yeah,
It could be interpreted any kinds of ways.
Really bad writing.
There'll be chicken or fish. Circle one. Tom had barbecue at his wedding, and it was
did.
delicious. There was a spicy sausage, possibly cut off of a sexy skeleton. I don't know, but I have dreams about that sausage. Tom,
It was delicious barbecue.
Who catered?
Mission Barbecue.
Ah, right on.
their mission, I think, is to give you delicious meats.
I have to bleep them now too because
Everybody
gotta
can
believe
this
everyone.
episode.
Did you actually get to eat the food at your wedding?
oh yeah, I made sure of it. And then, like at
What before
3
everybody
o'clock
else,
in the morning, I stood over the leftovers just eating.
Yeah.
them.
before everybody could eat, him and Becca just went up and like stuck fistfuls into the. It was, I mean, it's sort of like this, like show of dominance to all of the guests. It's kind of cool. Like it definitely not something you see every day.
I took a bite out of every piece.
Just licked the whole top.
Kiss, like this one's for you. Down. Here's another.
Instead of feeding each other cake, they just took the squirt bottles and shot them all over each other. It was a whole thing. But that wedding got planned super fast too. Like all of a sudden they're on the Nimbus and they're ready to
Yes.
go and everybody's there. The honored guests and Kif.
Yeah. Yes.
Can a ship captain marry himself?
No,
No? Did you look into
Did you look it up?
a ship captain can't marry anyone.
Why?
That's like fake.
I thought it was
No,
if you're on
that's-
international waters.
In international
They
waters,
can
they
marry.
can.
Or international space.
Yeah.
Maybe in international
I
space.
think that they can actually.
Like they could marry themselves to someone else.
No, you can't marry yourself, or
That's
you
what
can't.
Zap was doing.
You can't perform a marriage ceremony for yourself.
You can in Pennsylvania.
No.
Yes, you can.
No.
Actually, it's totally true. In Pennsylvania.
Wait. Is this like faking your death isn't a crime, but doing anything after you fake your death is?
It's probably gonna.
We're gonna have to bleep out Pennsylvania.
That's where Philadelphia is.
In Pennsylvania, there's a lot of Quakers. Quakers don't use their weddings are, people stand up and they say, "I
Throw
want to get
oats.
married," and someone else says, "I want to get married," and I'm totally bastardizing this beautiful tradition. Sorry, all the Quakers, but because of that, because there's such a big Quaker population, they have on the books you can marry yourself in Pennsylvania. So I actually officiated my brother's wedding, but I didn't have to get ordained. Because you don't have to. You can
Anything goes in
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
I mean,
Interesting.
of all of the groups we have potentially offended ever, I never thought Quakers would make that
They're
list.
lovely.
Love their oats.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're pacifists. I actually have my sister-in-law, her family is Quaker, and they all moved to Costa Rica in the draft because they didn't want to be drafted in Vietnam because they're pacifists.
Sure.
And they started this nature reserve in Costa Rica, and there's stuff named after them if you go down there.
Crazy.
That's cool.
Yeah.
There's weird conspiracy videos online claiming Nixon was a Quaker. No
What?
idea if there's any water to it.
I think he was. If you listen to the Dollop episode on Nixon, he was definitely raised a Quaker, and then he's
Okay.
just, it's just. Boy, to be president ever, you're just probably an awful person. I mean, I think that's been the rule more often
Part
than
of the
not.
big downward slide. but-
Speaking of,
Yeah.
Oh,
We enjoyed it. Wow, that was great. You
Whoa.
tied it right in
Not on
there, man.
purpose.
With the comic stylings of Nixon and Agnew. I miss those kinds of like the Willie Lone. What is Willie Tyler and Lester? Like a good ventriloquist act. Those are always fantastic. I feel like they could have had that going, almost like a reverse thing, just because Agnew can't talk without his head. But like you just don't see. I guess probably because they get beat up a lot. It's basically the Jeff Dunham guy, and he's a weird Gallagher-esque racist now. So it's all. I guess he's degrading the profession. Are there other puppet people out there like that?
puppet people.
Puppet people.
There must be, right?
You mean other comics that are?
I just mean, like, when was the last time you just came across a ventriloquist?
You don't meet many of them in Lakewood.
Or ever? I mean, or
I
see
did
them
want
in
to be a
media?
puppeteer
I feel like if you
when
were
I
gonna
was a kid.
Like, what kind of puppeteer? Like a Muppeteer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, like a Sesame Street, not like a ventriloquist, but
Like a Frank Oz and
I think I've talked about this somewhat recently on the podcast where like it was like a refrigerator box or something. Like my grandparents got like a new fridge or a new
Yeah.
oven or dishwasher or something, and my dad cut out a hole in the top and drew wood grain on the cardboard so that I had all these hand puppets and I would put on puppet shows.
Oh my God.
Like
Cool.
yeah.
Like your own little
Swear
Punch
I
and
just
Judy
talked
booth?
about that. Yeah.
Were you on a different show? I don't remember that. But
I wasn't on a different show, but I probably told someone about it.
I mean, we haven't talked about anything on this show in like 2 months. So if that's like recently, I could have seriously forgotten it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Somebody write in and tell us if we're just forgetting shit.
But yeah, recently with Aldous Mustache, who I think several of them have been guests on the show at this point, they did do a sketch with a puppet. Oh. And it's really good and it's really funny.
I'll have to go see it.
So
Yeah, that's
when Public Access 3000 comes out on YouTube, when it finally is released for everyone to see.
maybe sometime you could have a showing when I'm not out of town.
There have been 2 showings.
I've been out of town for both of them.
and you haven't gone to either.
I've tried. Look.
I hope some local listeners may have been.
Yeah, I do too, because those are good guys and they are also funny.
You can see a sneak peek of it on YouTube if you Google or search in YouTube either Aldous Mustache or Son of the Dad.
I will check that out.
Did so what did you think about Zach's ultimate ruse with the tricking the car?
Oh, I did want to
Carcarons.
bring up really quick before we get that
Yeah.
deep into the wedding. On the way to the wedding, Lilo isn't going to go, and Fry talks her into it. And he says, you sure you won't come to your mom's wedding? There'll be chicken or fish, circle one. Which, like, that was the one line that, like, I actually laughed hard at that.
It was good.
But then Fry actually is really sweet, and he makes Leela realize that what if Zap makes her mom happy, and wouldn't she want to go to the wedding for her mom? And, you know, mom's just trying her best pretty much. And Leela realizes that Fry's right, and she tells Fry that he's right, and he goes like, oh, maybe Zap's not the only one that's marriage material. And like Leela's like, you're getting there, and kisses him. Like, it's so sweet. It was like a very like
if I
weird,
transcribed a lot of that
moment.
little speech and changed some of the names and gave it to you to talk to somebody else about it, would you be open to that? Never mind. It's been a rough couple days. But the fake peace treaty, like that's like, has that happened before? Like, you would think there'd be some kind of vetting, even though it's like, yeah, well, this is what it says. Like, is that just Zap being harebrained too, going, I have a thing saying they declared war, or?
I don't know if I think Zap could have put that together on his own.
Right.
Too. Like, it's not.
So is it the
it's
dupe or
written
something?
document. I don't know.
I think he's just that big of a shithead that he would say, yeah, we're just going to trick them into signing
This document that says peace treaty on the top and then reads as...
says that they're declaring war so that the attack would be in self-defense. I think that's something like asshole-ish enough for Zap Brannigan to do.
But he's kept it under wraps the entire time he's with Munda. That's like the part that's almost super surprising.
Well, the Karkarans were not a part of the story in between like the first time we see them and now.
When they show up at the wedding because he forgot the dates.
Right, like he didn't even remember that he told them to come.
So potentially when
Munda
they were
didn't
signing
know.
it at the Most Def Cantina, they could have been like that too.
They weren't signing it, they were planning to sign it at the
A
canteen.
month
That's
later.
right.
Yeah.
It's a very weird scheme. Like, why? Why?
Because then he can
that cowardly first strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he can delegate authority and take all the credit. Probably get some medals.
Up high, Mrs. Brannigan. I like that.
But then she throws his engagement ring, which was kind of like a bracelet, I
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Careful, that's glass.
That's class.
But there's your line. Once again, my lies have been proven true.
Once again.
I love it. And that it's so fucking close to reality anymore. It's the worst. I mean, if you had an uneaten ice cream cake that was still frozen, can you return that or no? Or you just can't return a cake in general.
Return any kind of a
Yeah.
cake under any circumstance, wedding,
we
ice
could
cream, or otherwise.
Check out Dairy Queen.
Although later on, Zoidberg is scarfing down that cake, and it looks like
Yes.
a regular cake. Doesn't look like an ice cream.
It could have had ice cream layered in. You know what? I know a couple of bakers. I should ask them about their return policies. It's probably like once it's been touched, get the fuck out. Because I mean,
There's a
Or once they
DQ
delivered
like a
it to
mile
you.
that way.
you know what? And they have butterscotch dip as their seasonal now, so you can get a
neat.
dipped cone with butterscotch.
It's quite good.
It's
Yeah,
really
we live
good.
on like 2 blocks from there, so that it's across from the little park where you push the baby on the swing.
What are they doing there? Because it was all torn up. Are they
It's going to
putting
be
in a new
a
one?
beautiful new park
Oh, that's
with
great.
bigger equipment.
Because that's where
Yeah.
we used to live, like right there.
Oh, yeah.
And so when my daughter was the age of your daughter, we pushed her on those same swings.
Yeah.
Probably still smell like her butt. Because man, back then
They're gone now.
Got all those butt cooties on my.
they probably threw it into that house that they keep threatening to tear down.
A funny thing about Dairy Queen. This is a
Did
pro
you get
tip.
food poisoning there
No,
too?
no. This is a fun pro tip for anybody in a Dairy Queen. You know how they have that little book that shows you all the designs you can get put on your cake?
Yeah.
Sit down and look through that book.
Oh, it's
'cause There's
hilarious.
some hilarious stuff in there. I think
They just keep adding pages. They don't take anything
never take
out.
anything out.
So there's like shit. There's like 1970s art. Like if you go far enough in the book, you can find like the weirdest.
I saw like a
most
Bugs
specific-
Bunny with like a Confederate flag.
Yeah.
Hilarious stuff.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I can't.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just
Dairy
anytime
Queen don't
someone
care.
brings something in, they're owned by Warren Buffett.
No kidding.
Yeah.
All of them, or
I think he owns the brand.
He has 2 franchises.
I thought you just owned all the Buffets.
If it's a buffet
the
restaurant,
Warren, the Warren Buffet.
Ponderosa, Oriental Palace. But boy, not being able to return that cake really gets Zap worked up. So like basically, they just have to evade the Karkarons now. So Morris is going to hang 20. Like I didn't. That seemed like the most preposterous thing of the whole episode. Is like all of the
Time's running out this episode. They gotta throw these premises at you quick. You don't have time to think about them.
But like having a keyboard surfboard thing up there, that was just like like he's not demonstrated any musical ability previously at all, and so now he's just got like perfect. I don't know. This is stupid cartoon logic. What do we do? Who do we blame?
And then it all ends, and Munda and Morris get remarried.
He surfs it and they surf away with a just
It just ends.
And
yeah, it just
Agnew gives it his
stops.
stamp of approval.
Good bit.
He did say "Pruritz" earlier too.
It's I don't know how I feel about this. I mean, I guess just that it's just a thing.
It's an inoffensive episode. Like I said, the jokes all land. It's
Yeah.
just like when I heard that this was our episode, I had to think. I'm like, I do not remember this episode at all.
I had never seen it, so now they're all new for me.
Okay.
But I wish when we first asked and you said that you guys like to be on it again, it would have been perfect if you had been on that episode because there's the one with the baby, and it just scheduling
the
didn't
first
work out.
one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, but look, it all worked out. This is great. You guys made this episode of our show way more entertaining than it was gonna be because this episode kind of sucked.
We're also married. Talk about marriage.
That's right. And I'm divorced twice, and Tom just got married. We're all in it's different stages. And then there's Michelle. It's come up a lot lately, right?
And there's Michelle.
Oh, God. I don't even remember how to close these things up anymore. Do you, Tom?
What do our guests want to plug?
Yeah. Plugs.
Sure.
Plugs.
Well, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but we do. I do art, and Ron sells the art.
Yep.
And it's called Supergroup Hugs. It's illustrations of all your favorite pop culture characters hugging. Some of them are cute. Some of them are awkward.
Some of them are terrifying.
Some of them terrifying. Sometimes hugs are a weapon.
Hugs are a weapon.
Oh yeah.
Is that like the Harvey Weinstein thing? Or is it more wholesome than that?
Not that
More Hulkbusters gives Hulk a hug.
Okay.
And it's not Hulk doesn't want to get hugged.
So like killing with kindness.
We'll go with that. Yeah.
Okay, not
Yeah.
Aaron,
horrible assault.
Not unwanted advances.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Aaron did a blank comic book cover that she drew a picture of the Green Goblin hugging Gwen Stacy's corpse. I think that was
God.
the darkest one we ever.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
my
true, that happened.
God.
Well,
Yeah.
we actually brought you a little gift.
Oh my God.
Here's our Futurama one. If you want to,
you'll post that up, right?
Oh
Tom?
yeah, I'll take a picture after that.
so yeah, listeners at home, if you want to go ahead and visit www.supergrouphugs.com, you'll be able to find that one and all the other ones on our website.
Also, you can follow us on Instagram at Erin in Artland. Actually, it's not
That's
.com,
it.
it's just Erin in Art. That's how handles work.
Instagram.com/Erin in Artland. Oh, I also got you this fun patch because I was just at this show in Chicago.
my gosh.
And a guy
Nice.
he gave me a big deal on patches, so I got an extra one.
It says Planet Express.
It is.
It
Oh
does.
yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
it's like an official logo. Thank you so much. This is I think for other than liquor, this is like the first time anyone's brought anything
We won.
over.
Yay.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That one time that person brought smallpox here.
Right.
Back to the diseases, man. You got a problem.
What?
Came in on-
What?
it came in on somebody's show. It was when Horchie was on the show.
Oh,
It might have just been Horchie.
I'm pretty sure that one is completely eradicated in the United States.
It is.
Yep.
Well, that's what they'd like you to think.
Yeah.
Better check
some
back in
labs.
on that with all the anti-vaxxer
Oh,
kids.
Yeah.
gosh. Please vaccinate your children.
Right, or keep them away if they are.
Hot takes.
No, just vaccinate them.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Yep.
well, yeah, but
No,
people,
don't even keep
people
away.
gonna people.
Yeah.
There are people who are immunocompromised who cannot be vaccinated, but that's why you
different.
want to vaccinate is to protect those people.
Herd immunity, people.
All right, that's all we're going to say about anti-vaxxers or else I'm going to get really angry.
Let's go back to a safer subject
Yeah.
like food poisoning.
Hey, that bee on the box behind you, that little wood shape thing.
Yes.
I made that.
Really,
I product designed it.
I don't know where it came from,
Pecatans.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, R.I.P.
yeah, that is yours.
R.I.P.
Damn you, Michaels. Damn you. Wow. Okay, so we have our own stuff to plug in. I'm still rusty.
At slurmcastpod. At slurmcastpod.
Instagram and Twitter.
216-438-1077.
Slurmcastpod@gmail.com. Slurmcast.com, which has the link to the TeePublic shop.
Yes.
Is TeePublic still even like going
I
to be
don't know.
around much
Maybe.
longer? Because I've heard some things.
Go
They're
get
getting
some. Go
sued
get
out
your
of it.
t-shirts.
Go buy
or
your
something.
shirts while you can.
Yeah.
Well, they're still capable of
Now
delivering.
that Disney owns everything.
Yeah.
It's what you nerds wanted. Sorry. Now they're going to charge you out the nose for it.
I just wanted to put my princesses in my Marvel.
Right? And they're, nope, no dice.
At least we got Spider-Man back. That's all I'm going to say.
We were never losing Spider-Man.
Sony was going to kill Spider-Man.
That sounds just like
Again.
something they do. They're basically the Green Goblin, right? Okay. Wow, I'm losing it
No,
rapidly.
that's all.
That's
Yeah,
all.
That's all. Hey,
Bye.
thanks for coming on the show. We'll see you soon, folks.
A couple weeks.
Bye.
Probably.
Bye, listeners.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.